What's going on, guys? This will probably be a quicker video than normal, but I have a couple things I want to get into. First off, we've been seeing some pretty consistent outflows. Today is definitely looking set up for a inflow day, finally breaking this streak, but we were at a 4-day streak. Yesterday was a $40 million outflow. Surprisingly, BlackRock's IBIT was the only spot Bitcoin ETF to record outflows on Monday, with a $100 million outflow. Spot Ethereum ETFs also recorded a net outflow, $145 million in net outflows, outpacing Bitcoin, and this was their third consecutive day of negative flows. Despite this recent hiccup, the massive liquidation the other week, the kind of negative sentiment lately, I've been noticing more comments saying the top is in, the cycle's broken, the cycle's over, we're already entering crypto winter. First off, I personally disagree. We are basically back where we started in October. And I do personally think we'll see October end in the green. We will have a green month for October. Following past cycles, this is what we have always seen. And I think this little brief period of negativity was a healthy correction. Let me remind you that Bitcoin balance on exchanges continues to drop. Yes, while recently it has risen, we are only 0.05 million from our low point, or about 50,000 Bitcoin more on exchanges than its lowest point this cycle. Going back to early 2024, this is when the spot Bitcoin ETFs went live. And what did we see? Consistently, we have seen Bitcoin's balance on exchanges get more and more depleted as spot Bitcoin ETFs continue to gobble up the Bitcoin, as companies become these treasury companies building Bitcoin reserves. And I do think we'll continue to see Bitcoin's balance on exchanges being depleted. Despite these recent outflows, BlackRock's IBIT still holds 801,403 Bitcoin. And while I don't think they'll reach 1 million Bitcoin by the end of this year, I think it may be pretty close, and they will see 1 million Bitcoin held in their fund in the year 2026 at some point. Also, the current net assets of their fund is $88 billion. This reached 100 billion, but because of the pullback, it's lost right around 10% of its net assets value. I do think we'll see it back at 100 billion soon. Now, while Bitcoin is having a pretty decent day, and altcoins as well, I noticed Cardano was rallying, ETH is up a bit. Surprisingly, the Bitcoin miners, for the most part, are pulling back. This is WGMI Bitcoin mining ETF, and this is their heat map. Rather than trying to decide what Bitcoin miner you want, if you're still looking to buy them this late in the cycle, you could look at something like WGMI, the Valkyrie Bitcoin miner ETF. It is down 8% in the last 5 days. It is still up a massive 164% from the beginning of the year. This might be worth a dip buy here. Now, looking at Bitcoin, it's been having a decent recovery actually. From its lows on the 17th, 18th of October, we have been recovering pretty nicely. We're now testing our 50 MA. If we can break over this 50 MA, I think Bitcoin is going to test its all-time high soon. Unless we get rejected here and then it's a test of our trend line, which we previously broke. You can see the reaction on the break of this trend line, this white line here that Bitcoin has been in since April of 2025. If we fail our 50 MA, it would be wonderful to see a bounce, see this trend line being respected, being utilized still, but we'll see if the market actually decides to pay attention to it. But breaking the 50 MA is going to be crucial for Bitcoin right around 114.5. Now, what did we see recently? We saw Bitcoin test the 50 MA on the weekly, which it has done multiple times throughout this cycle actually. And what happened here back in September of 2024, about a year ago, we bottomed out here. We tested that 50 MA. We went from 54,000, a $54,000 Bitcoin back in 2024, to 100,000, to a new all-time high after the test of this 50 MA. I remember the fear back here. People were so negative, and what happened? We just about doubled in price after this 50 MA test. What about the other time? Back here in April of 2025, kind of around where we started this massive uptrend. We tested the 50 MA right here at 78,000. We saw a pullback from 108 down to 78,000, 76,000 actually. And then we rallied to break a new all-time high. Here we are again, a pullback from 124, 125,000 down to 104,000 or so, testing the 50 MA. I do think new all-time highs are coming soon if the past tests and rallies from this 50 MA are any indicator. We have done this multiple times this cycle. During all this recent fear and pain, we did see a bullish divergence. We saw the RSI hit a low in early October, whereas the price of Bitcoin hit a low in mid-October. We saw the RSI recovering. Once it set this higher low, that basically marked the bottom, and we have been running ever since. Let me remind you that Bitcoin started October right basically where we are here at 115,000. I do personally think the second half of October is going to be a stark difference from this first half of October, which was mostly negative. You know, we got through this pullback, this bit of fear after an initial run early in the month. We are now basically at square one where we started the month. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think we're going to have the first red October in Bitcoin's peak year in history? Look back to 2021, look back to 2017, 2013. I think 2025 will be another green month for October. We'll see in the coming days. I do think this recent pullback was a great time to take advantage. Now remember, if and when things do start running, you want to be taking some profits, securing some profits, preparing some cash for bad times if we do get some amazingly good times. And on the inverse, if we get some bad times, if we see a red October, a major pullback throughout October and November even, I do think it will be a buying opportunity. So try your best to remain flexible. I have a feeling the cycle will play out similarly to how it has, and we'll see a rally to end October, maybe throughout November to end this year. New all-time highs for Bitcoin, but always be ready for what the market throws at you. Thanks as always for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.